Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is TVP World. You're watching World News. I'm your host, Benjamin Lee, and these are the latest headlines. Danish Foreign Minister Lars Rasmussen has slammed U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance's criticism of Denmark's support for Greenland, calling it inappropriate between allies. In a video statement on social media, Rasmussen said, quote, "This is not how you speak to your close allies." His response followed Vance's remarks accusing Denmark of neglecting Greenland and not investing enough in the territory.
I have a message for our American friends and all others who are listening. Much is being said these days. Many accusations and many allegations have been made. And of course, we are open to criticism. But let me be completely honest. We do not appreciate the tone in which is being delivered. This is not how you speak to your close allies. And I still consider Denmark and the United States to be close allies. We respect that the United States needs a greater military presence in Greenland, as Vice President Vance mentioned this evening. We, Denmark and Greenland, are very much open to discussing this with you, with an open mind. We still have the defense agreement from 1951. It offers ample opportunity for the United States to have a much stronger military presence in Greenland. If that is what you wish, then let us discuss it.
Denmark's Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen will travel to Greenland next week for talks with the island's new government. Her visit from Wednesday to Friday aims to maintain close ties between Denmark and Greenland amid growing U.S. interest in the Arctic territory. U.S. President Donald Trump has repeatedly stated that he wants to take control of the island. Frederiksen's trip follows a recent visit by U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance to a remote American base in Greenland. Vance criticized Denmark for not adequately securing the territory and suggests that Washington could offer better protection for the strategically important island. Russian drone strike on Ukraine's second-largest city, Kharkiv, have killed 2 people and injured at least 25 others. The State Emergency Service of Ukraine released footage of Saturday night's attack, showing rescue workers battling fires and searching rubble with dogs for survivors. The drones hit military hospital, shopping center, apartment blocks, and other sites across the city. Kharkiv's mayor said on Telegram that one of the victims was pulled from the rubble of a building. President Volodymyr Zelenskyy says Ukraine expects a strong response from Western countries to Russia's nearly daily drone attacks. In his nightly address, he emphasized that Moscow must be pressured into negotiations.
We expect a response, a serious response. We are working to ensure a reaction. A strong reaction is needed, especially from America, Europe, and all those in the world who rely on diplomacy. Russia must be forced into peace. Only pressure will work. Massive drone strikes are now happening almost daily, along with missile and ballistic threats. Our partners must understand that these Russian strikes are targeting not only our people, but also our international efforts, diplomatic efforts to end this war. Russia is striking the positions of all those who are trying to end the war. It is impossible to ignore hundreds of shaheeds every night.
Bloomberg reports that Ukrainian negotiators are demanding more investment from Washington and are resisting terms that could require Kyiv to repay past U.S. military and financial aid. Ukraine is pushing for significant changes to a proposed raw materials agreement with the United States, warning that the current draft could threaten its path to European Union membership. The deal, if finalized, would grant U.S. extensive economic privileges in Ukraine. It reportedly suggests Ukraine must repay the financial and military aid provided by Washington since Russia's full-scale invasion began. The agreement would give the U.S. priority access to Ukraine's valuable natural resources, such as metals, minerals, and energy supplies, over other buyers, including potential European partners. It also lacks an expiration date and would prevent Ukraine from selling critical minerals to U.S. competitors.
But I believe we'll get it done.
A new safety treaty between Poland and France is nearing completion and is expected to be signed by the end of June, according to Polish Foreign Minister Radosław Sikorski. Both countries have confirmed their willingness to open a new chapter of cooperation. This will be the first high-level friendship agreement for France with a country that doesn't share a direct border.
The Polish Minister of Foreign Affairs announced the new treaty between France and Poland and noted that another one with the UK was already on the way.
We are to sign a new Polish-French treaty before the summer holidays. France calls it a premium treaty because it will cover many fields, from culture to economy, with important security clauses.
The French ambassador to Poland also praised the new treaty in an interview with the Polish news channel TVN24. The diplomat noted that under Prime Minister Tusk, Polish-French relations had been reignited and emphasized that France will maintain relations with Poland on the same level as with its key European Union partners, including Italy, Spain, and Germany. The ambassador also pointed out that for the French side, defense cooperation is intended to be one of the main pillars of the treaty. According to the representative, Poland should cooperate with French arms industry more in a spirit of partnership.
Military activity along the Lithuanian-Belarusian border has been reported by witnesses, according to Belsat. In Belarus's Vitebsk region, the government has called up reservists for military exercises. Witnesses says trees are being cut down and anti-tank barriers are being installed. The Pastave district bordering Lithuania is being transformed into a fortified area. Authorities say the exercises are aimed at testing the readiness of local officials and military offices to form territorial troops, with training occurring in the Pastave district and other areas. The Lithuanian Armed Forces and the United States Army continue searching for the missing American soldiers. The military vehicle was found submerged near the training area during its drills in Lithuania. A U.S. Army military vehicle was pulled from the waters on Saturday. The 50-ton M88 Hercules vehicle was trapped in a swamp and was discovered on Thursday, several meters below the surface. The U.S. Army says the recovery operation required Navy personnel and specialized diving equipment. The soldiers remain missing. In Turkey, hundreds of thousands are protesting in Istanbul, calling it a fight to defend democracy. Now, the demonstrations began 10 days ago after Istanbul's mayor, Ekrem İmamoğlu, was arrested on the same day he was nominated to challenge Recep Tayyip Erdogan in the 2028 presidential election.
A popular outcry against Recep Tayyip Erdogan's rule is intensifying in Turkey. On Saturday, supporters of the main opposition grouping, Republican People's Party, rallied in their thousands in Istanbul.
This is by far the most unprecedented challenge to President Erdogan's rule.
The protests began in response to the jailing of Istanbul Mayor Ekrem İmamoğlu, who was handed corruption charges and is now pending trial. Many experts perceive the arrest as politically motivated, as it came amidst İmamoğlu's nomination as a Republican People's Party 2028 presidential candidate.
Till his jailing, I'd say he was the most direct threat to Erdogan's presidency.
The protests were met with a swift government crackdown, akin to the scenes observed over a decade ago.
The Gezi Park protests and the crackdown of those protests, that the country has been increasingly sliding towards authoritarianism. So in a sense, İmamoğlu's arrest now and the repression of the protests is part of a trend.
Turkey's Interior Ministry estimates that over 1,900 people have been jailed. The government has also resigned to tried and tested methods of dissent suppression.
In this case, we see nothing else but what we've always been seeing during mass protests, and that is, of course, jailing journalists, controlling the media, for example, by blocking Facebook accounts, X accounts.
These repression techniques have worryingly been applied to independent media outlets too, with journalists facing mounting pressure from the government.
This is the first time that I witness a clearly identified media professional chosen as a target and sent to jail for attending an outlawed demonstration.
Experts point out, however, that this is a risky game for Recep Erdogan to play.
There are some factions of opposition who may think that this kind of operation may be a chance to them to take on the stage.
Particularly as pressure is also mounting from Turkey's international partners, including French President Emmanuel Macron.
The systematic prosecution of opposition figures and civil society, the attacks on freedom of information and assembly, and the arrest and detention of the mayor of Istanbul clearly constitute attacks and violations that we can only regret.
This is not the first time that Erdogan has faced rampant opposition in his 11 years as president. Much like over a decade ago, he is intent on squashing the dissent. Just yesterday, Ekrem İmamoğlu alleged his lawyer had also been arrested on false pretenses. For TVP World, Zuzanna Jurek.
A state of emergency has been declared on Olomouc's Czech Republic, now following the derailment of a train 1 month ago that spilled highly toxic benzene. The contamination is now spreading towards the Bečva River, threatening the local ecosystem.
A state of emergency was introduced on Friday in Czech Olomouc region bordering Poland due to benzene contamination. The development is the consequence of a February accident when a freight train derailed, spilling 350 tons of benzene, a toxic liquid, into groundwater. All this amid flames soaring over 20 meters high and thick black smoke visible from kilometers away.
There is a risk of widespread contamination due to benzene leaks into groundwater. The declared state of emergency allows us to do everything we can to minimize the impact of the accident.
The incident occurred in Hustopečen nad Bečvou, less than 100 kilometers from the Polish border, and the state of emergency was introduced to accelerate cleanup efforts and prevent pollution of the Bečva River.
If contamination possibly spread into that river, it would carry the benzene chemicals further away, and it could turn into from a regional issue into a countrywide issue.
Contamination was found in a well near the site, and a local fishing group reported elevated benzene levels in a nearby reservoir.
The situation is complex and the restoration works may take years. Necessary measures, including pumping of groundwater and removal of contaminated soil, are underway at the site.
The government has called the incident the world's largest benzene contamination of its kind, thus requiring immediate action.
We can already detect some criticism from the environmentalists who are criticizing that this was taken way too long, that the state of emergency, if the situation is as dire as to require a state of emergency, should have been declared much sooner.
Although benzene has carcinogenic properties and is harmful to humans, the Ministry of Environment said there was no imminent threat to human health. The state of emergency will last 1 month. For TVP World, I'm Sonia Gatabishtan.
Europeans set their clocks forward by 1 hour on Saturday night as part of the widely criticized daylight saving practice. The March time change, which cost an hour of sleep, has reignited calls to end the routine. The European Commission proposed scrapping the practice back in 2018, but member states have yet to agree. Some EU officials expect the current Polish presidency to address the issue, with talks scheduled for late April. Critics argue the time change harms health, animals, and traffic safety, while failing to save energy, which was its original purpose. A 2019 poll found 74% of Poles support keeping summertime year-round. And with that, we conclude this edition of World News. But for more news, update, and commentary, please stay tuned to TVP World.